Hey gang, Dr. Foster here, the success coach with MaximumChange.com. So happy that you're joining me here. I speak to entrepreneurs all the time, and like myself, I had to figure out certain things to build my business. When I came into my business 13 years ago, almost 14 years ago, I knew nothing about marketing. In fact, if we go all the way back to the year 2000, I started my very first business. I knew nothing about marketing. What I knew about was the hustle, how to work really hard to find people that would buy my product or my service. So I have been talking with entrepreneurs, and what I keep hearing over and over again is I don't know how to find my target audience. And so I wanted to just share with you some ideas on how to do that. And I'm going to just talk in the sense of general terms here. I'm not going to use specifics, but I'm going to talk about you as a business owner have a product or service. We're just going to call it a widget for right now. It could be either a product or a service. We're just going to call it a widget. And a widget is just some fictitious thing that stands in the place of whatever your product or service is. So what I'm looking for is how to take my widget to market. And so I have to sit here and think, well, how do I do that? Because I don't know anything about this. This is like street smarts here. This is the PhD in street smarts of how to market your product that I want to share with you. What I did in the year 2000, I started with 0 clients, 0 product, and about $100. I share this story all the time. I had $100 in my pocket, went and invested that $100, and I had 0 clients, 0 product. And I started this in a 900 square foot apartment selling specialty bath products. I made soaps and lotions, year 2000. And I did very well at it. But I knew nothing about the industry. I knew nothing about my target audience. I had a niche. I was going to sell natural and near natural products, and I was going to compete with companies like Bath and Body Works and The Body Shop. And so I knew what my niche was. And so I was taking those companies head on as I was going in there. And so what I did is I said, okay, I have this widget. Where would I sell it? And then I started thinking about, where have I seen this product or this service before? And so I started making a list. Where have I seen the product? Where have I seen it? Or I also made this list of who would buy this product. And I had a certain dossier, if you will, of who my target audience was. But here's what's interesting. I wanted to make sure that I got the greatest impact for my sale. And I thought, where could I sell my product where I would have a captive audience? And what I mean by captive audience is that they have access to the product not because they wanted it, but because it was offered to them. And so I decided that one of my target audiences would be bed and breakfast and little inns and things like that. And so I started this Google search. Now, again, this is in the year 2000. I did a Google search, and I looked for my target audience. And then I started emailing them. And I said, hey, I just went to your website, and I noticed that you're a bed and breakfast in New England, and I just want to introduce myself to you and my company, and I wanted you to know about our widgets. And if you have an interest in them, please let us know. It was a very basic email. Sorry to bother you if you're not interested. And so in 3 years' time, I estimated that I probably sent out about 1 million emails. Now, you might think, well, that's spamming. I wasn't trying to be a spammer. I was trying to target my audience specifically. And I was telling them, I was recognizing them as a bed and breakfast, and I told them about my product, and it was very short and to the point. So my very first client, remember, I had 0 clients, 0 product, $100 investment. My very first client was a bed and breakfast, and they purchased from me 1-ounce bars of soap. And what I did, very smart here, I made sure there was a label on my product that had my company name and our website where they could buy the product again. Now, we started our company that way and we built it to 3 years. It became a company that sold product all around the globe. We were featured in magazines and newspapers. We were in Fortune magazines, one of their editions. We were in Red Book magazine for their Valentine edition because they were talking about how certain fragrances created aphrodisiac, if you will. And so we were in Red Book magazine, and our sales spiked at that point. January, February, March, our sales just went through the roof. We also took this technique and went to gift basket companies, gift shops, and things like that. And we ended up putting our product in a series of gift shops that went all the way from Key West up to somewhere in the New England area and Boston and in those areas. So there was all the way from Key West there, and that was the Historic Tours has these, if you've ever been to these big cities or Key West, you've been to DC, been to Boston, you see those trolleys there, that's Historic Tours of America. They were one of our clients, and we had our product in their stores up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And our top seller, because of that, was Key Lime fragrance, which was actually a lime fragrance that we sold out of the Key West stores. And so that was our top seller of all times. And again, our label had our internet address on it so they could buy our product from us again and again. So let's back up a minute and just talk about this. What I'm talking about is the idea that you think thoroughly about where your target audience is. Where can you find them? Where do they hang out? Where do they shop? Where do they hobby? Where do they vacation? What do they do when they're there? And if you can be really unique, how can you make them a captured audience? Because those individuals that went to that bed and breakfast in New England, and they had my little 1 ounce bar soap, and they really liked it. They looked at the label and they're like, "Oh, I really like this." And you know what? I got sales out of it. So not only did I sell a product to the bed and breakfast that bought it from me, but then I got to advertise and their bed and breakfast of my product, and the people that used my product and liked it went and ordered more on our website. So there became this momentum of our company. Now, after 3 years, I sold the company, and it goes like that. And I'll tell that story again some other time. But what I wanted to share with you is this. There are different ideas of where you can find your target audience. First of all, we want to look at our internal context. Who do we know? Who is close to us? Obviously, if you're going to go into business, you want to tell your friends and family about, and close friends and family, and of course the extended friends and family might know about it as well. But you want to share with them what you're doing. I'm not a hardcore salesperson. I'm not the type of person that goes to everybody I know and says, "You have to buy my widget from me." That's not who I am. You might be really aggressive in the way you market, and that's fine. But I never wanted to be overbearing in the way I presented myself. And that's always worked well for me. But the key here is go to the people your internal or your close contacts, your friends, your family. Obviously, your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, and so on. That is your spheres of influence that are close to you. Then you have external contacts. Now, these external contacts are the networks that you've created in or around what you know. In other words, it could be that you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce. It could be that you're a member of a networking group. It could be that you're a member of a church. Now, I want to say something here about churches and clubs. Be careful when you're selling to friends and family in your churches and clubs, because specifically friends and acquaintances, because what we don't want to do is become a turnoff to them. Like, they're going to that club, or they're going to their church or your synagogue or your mosque. They're going there to connect with God, with their Creator. They're not there to buy a product or service. So here's what I do. If I'm talking to someone and they say, "Well, what do you do?" And I say, "Well, I'm a business coach, and I help entrepreneurs build their empire." That's my elevator speech. And they're saying, "Oh, well, what does that mean?" And I talk to them. I'm a business coach. This is what I do. I help people to find their niche. Help people to become more efficient in what they do. I help people to think through their strategies and tactics and how they're going to be tactical in the way that they grow their business. That's what I do. Interesting. I'm really interested in that. I own a business. Can I have your business card? Sure, here's my card. Give me a call this week, and maybe we can set up a time to talk and see if this is the right thing for you. I don't like to sell when I'm at church or at a club unless they're asking for the information. I don't go up to someone and say, well, you know, I'm a business coach and I think that I can help you. No, I don't do that. I actually am a very soft sell person. And again, it's served well for me. So now we've talked about the internal people. These are the people that you've grown up around, that know you uniquely, and of course, if they really believe in you and what you're doing, they're going to be champions of you. Even if they don't buy that product or service, they're going to know people that would want to buy the product or service. Then we've talked about the external. So this is your sphere of influence outside of your friends and family, and that is your business contacts. That is where you go into the community and you're networking. That's where you're standing in line at the grocery store and you get into this offshoot conversation that ends up into, well, what do you do for a living? This is the people that you're sitting next to on the airplane, and you get into that awkward, conversation, and then, oh, what do you do? And then it leads to exchanging of business cards and business. So that is the external. Then there is the idea of the geographic location. These are the people that you want to target near you. Now, if you have a business where you're on the internet, then there is this idea that your website is optimized on Google and that search engine optimized, and so you're going to have this optimization, and you're going to receive organic hits to your website based on them doing some sort of Google search or Yahoo search or whatever. But really the key website that we know that most of the searches happen in happens to be Google. Now, the other thing I want to mention to you, if you have a website, make sure that your website is web, or rather mobile optimized. Because what I've found is, at least with my website and in the studies that I've seen, that the majority of hits to your website are going to come from mobile devices, like your smartphone. So you want to make sure that it's optimized for mobile. Now, interesting enough, my website, the majority of the visitors come from mobile, desktop, and then tablet. So you do want to make sure it's optimized for, as many platforms as possible. And so I always do that. And many times it depends on the platform that you're using. The platform I use automatically optimizes it, but you can go in and adjust things. If you have a web developer, they can also help you with that to optimize you not only for the search engine, but also for mobile devices. So you want to make sure you're doing that. Now, the other thing is external, geographic rather, is where you go into using tools like Facebook ads, Google ads, and you're going to draw in searches through there. Now, there's one last thing that I wanted to mention to you, and that is using social media to help you to attract customers. So for me, I use the majority of my work, I use LinkedIn, and I use Facebook, and I use Instagram, and I use Twitter. Now, I also have at my disposal Tumblr and Reddit, but my main search engine, my main social media is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And all of those, when you're putting content out there, like this video right now, I'm going to be putting out into YouTube land. I'm going to put it out, and the link is going to appear on all of my social media platforms, including LinkedIn and Facebook. And so those are other areas where we can draw in customers. So when you know what your niche market is, you know who your target audience is, you can actually go into some of those platforms like Facebook, specifically LinkedIn, and you can do these searches for those particular areas. For example, if I wanted to attract chief operation officers, CEOs, I could go onto LinkedIn and do a search for CEO, and literally hundreds of thousands of options will come up, and I can request to connect with them, I can send them messages, and I can target audience them. And also LinkedIn and Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram, they all have these options where you can do a target audience to reach out to them through advertising. So when you're building your business, when you're building your marketing arm, make sure that you're dealing with the internal contacts, which are the friends and family close to you, external, which would be outside of the friends and family. Maybe they're from a business group or some sort of a hobby or church or synagogue or whatever. And then there's the geographic focus, which is focused in on how do you do advertising through your Facebook and your Google ads. And then beyond that becomes this other layer where you do searches through your social media to build that. And then finally, you would want to look at any super centers of influence. Now, this kind of gets into the area of Facebook and LinkedIn because you have these areas of these influencers that are out there. So if I wanted to connect with entrepreneurs, and I just did a search for entrepreneurs on LinkedIn, I could find all these entrepreneurs and do these centers of influence and draw them toward me. So the key here is when you're wanting to build a business, it's all about the numbers. Listen, this is a lot of work. And when you're a small company, it's a lot of grunt work. You're going to spend hours and hours and hours if you're bootstrapping, especially. And bootstrapping basically means you don't have the money to just chunk out to pay someone else to do this. However, if you're bootstrapping, you need to plan on early morning, late night, a lot of work. But if you're consistent and you work really hard, then you're going to build something that will start sustaining itself. And then you can afford to go and hire other people to do some of this grunt work for you so that you can go and do other things. So it's really important to understand that entrepreneurship is a whole lot of failure that teaches lessons so that we can find success. Entrepreneurship is a whole lot of work, a lot of hard work. And so when you're building this business, when you're building your business, you have to work really hard and you have to think a lot. You have to do a lot of reading. I read a lot, as you could see. You have to do a lot of reading. But you have to stay consistent. You have to stay focused. You have to stay on task. And I just want to say one little comment on that. If you have things in your life that are diverting your attention away, and I'll just use an example. Facebook. If you're spending a lot of time on Facebook, but you're not building your business, turn Facebook off. I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm not saying deactivate your account. I'm saying close it, turn it off. If you spend too much time looking at the news or maybe a gossip site, about Hollywood, celebrities or whatever, that's taking away from your time. If you're involved in things, whether it be a hobby, or maybe you're involved in something that's not healthy for you, all of that is stealing from your business and your prosperity. So you need to find ways to turn those off. So in closing, I wanted you to just simply spend some time, turn your computer off, get in a place that doesn't have a lot of noise, maybe your office, maybe your home office like I have here, and just spend some time thinking about who your target audience is. And not just think who they are, but where are you going to find them? Where do they hang out? Where are they? And then build these concentric circles outside of that. Build upon that and figure out where you're going to find these clients. I'm telling you that if you're consistent and you're reaching out to them and you're following up with them, you are going to close business. Now, I'm not saying you're going to close it like an hour after you start this process. It may take you a couple of months. I don't know. But the thing of it is, nothing worth having comes easy. And finally, you need to banish certain words in your vocabulary. One of them is a can't. I tell people that say I can't, you've already decided you won't. Today is not the day to say I can't. Today is the day to say I will and I am. Dr. Foster, the success coach with MaximumChange.com. Check me out on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Go to my website. You'll find all of the links there, MaximumChange.com. I would love to help you. If you're looking to build your entrepreneurial empire, give me a call or go to my website and fill out the form for a consult. We'll see you soon.